So yes, what would the further course be? What are the treatments which are available for kidney stone treatment, doctor?
Yeah. Now, again, as I said, during the symptoms, the management of the kidney stones depends on the location. Okay. The location being in the kidneys. Now, as you know that there is a kidney, there is the tube, the tube which communicates with the bladder. Now, if the stone is in the kidney, that is the uppermost portion of the genitourinary tract. Now, we have got uh, three modalities of treatment of kidney stones when the stone is in the kidney. Now, the first being the ESWL, which is extracorporeal shock wave lithotripsy. The second modality being the RIRS, which is the retrograde intrarenal surgery. And the third being the PCNL, that is the percutaneous nephrolithotomy. Now, when do you offer these modalities of treatment to the patient, and how do these modalities work? Now, ESWL, as I said, that is extracorporeal shock wave lithotripsy, can be used in patients when the stone is in the kidney and is of a size less than a centimeter, that is less than 1 centimeter. Now, what is this ESWL? It is a day care procedure wherein the patient goes to the center where this facility is available, and there are shock waves which are being transmitted to the kidneys from external source. So the patient is not anesthetized, the patient is not admitted. So there are external shock waves which are transmitted to the kidneys under sort of local anesthesia. And these shock waves will fragment the stones. Now, once these shock waves will fragment the stones will propel out spontaneously through the normal passage from the ureter into the bladder. Now, this limitation of the extracorporeal shock wave lithotripsy is that it cannot be used when the stone size is more, because the stone fragments will be larger for them to pass through the normal urinary pipe. Secondly, it also depends on the density of the stone. Now, the density of the stone is, in a layman's word, is the strength of the stone. Like wattage, like a bulb has a wattage of 60, 80, 100. So the stone also has its power, and this power is being ascertained by CT, that is the computed tomography, which ascertains the Hounsfield units. The Hounsfield units is the strength of the stone which is being calibrated. Now, ESWL is not successful in stones which are more than 1000 HU, that is 1000 Hounsfield units. So you cannot offer this modality of a treatment in patients who have got kidney stones less than a centimeter with Hounsfield units of more than 1000. Also, another disadvantage of the extracorporeal shock wave lithotripsy is that during the shock waves, there occurs some damage to the kidneys because of these shock waves. Patient can have bleeding, and there can be some nephron damage which is happening. So this is another demerit of ESWL. The only advantage being the patient feels that he is not undergoing a major procedure. It is an day care procedure. It is an OPD procedure where the facility is available. So this was the first modality which I have explained, that is the ESWL. Now, the second modality of treatment for the kidney stone is PCNL, that is the percutaneous nephrolithotomy. Now, what is this? Now, this is an invasive procedure. Now, what is the indication for this PCNL? Now, the indication being the stone has to be more than 2 centimeters. Now, this procedure is reserved for these stones which are more than 2 centimeters. Now, what exactly is done in this procedure is the stone is being approached from the surface of the body. That is, the kidney is punctured from outside. The tract is created from the surface of the body to the kidneys. The tract is dilated. Through this tract, using intracorporeal lithotripters, which can be either pneumatic or ultrasonic, or combination of pneumatic and ultrasonic, or at times laser, we can fragment the stones. Now, the major demerit of this procedure is that there is a higher tendency of bleeding, because you puncture the kidneys, and kidney is a very vascular organ. So there are chances that the patient may have bleeding. So bleeding tendencies in this procedure, that is the PCNL, is comparatively higher, and risk to the patient is slightly higher than the other modalities of treatment. So this is the PCNL. Now, the third modality of treatment for the stones in the kidney is the RIRS. So this is of late the most recent advancement in management of kidney stones. And what is the indication for this RIRS? So this is usually reserved for patients who have stones less than 2 centimeters. People who have undergone ESWL in the past, but they have failed after multiple sessions, multiple shock waves. These people can be subjected to RIRS. Now, what is RIRS? It is the retrograde intrarenal surgery. So this is the latest upcoming and advancement, wherein the kidney is approached through the normal urinary passage. So there are instruments which are available which can be introduced directly into the kidney. So the patient has got no external cuts, and then no stitches, no external surface wounds, any chances of bleeding are little less. So the kidney is directly approached through the normal urinary passage using a flexible ureteroscope, flexible ureterorenoscope. Directly we go inside the kidneys and then we lay the stones. Now, there are instances wherein the textbook literature says that the stones up to 2 centimeters only are the indications for RIRS. Now, there are people, and even myself, I have performed the stones up to 3 to 3.5 centimeters with RIRS. And now the only exception in this cases is that you may have to take at least 2 stages to clear the stone. The very much advantage of this procedure is that patient is back home the next day, and the hospitalization is only a day. Chances of bleeding, as I explained in PCNL, is minimal. The pain post-operative is very less. So RIRS is one of the latest innovations in the management of kidney stones. So to summarize the management of kidney stones, first modality is ESWL. I have explained the advantages as well as disadvantages of ESWL. The second modality, which I've explained, is the PCNL. The third modality is the RIRS. So all the 3 modalities I've explained when it is to be done, when it is to be planned. Now, this was for the stones which are in the kidneys. Now, what is to be done when the stones are in the tube, that is the ureter? Now, during the spontaneous expulsion, I explained that stone in the tube has got the propensity to pass by itself. Now, if the stone is in the ureter, and if it is in the lower portion of the tube, there are higher chances that the stone can expel by itself by medications or spontaneously at times if the stone size is less than 6 to 7 mm. Percentages I just mentioned a while ago. Now, there are instances, the diameter of the tube is just 4 to 5 mm in units. Okay. Now, there are instances wherein stones of 1.5 or 2 centimeters develop in the tube, that is in the ureter. Now, there is no way that these stones of 1.5 to 2 centimeter caliber can come out spontaneously. Obviously, you may have to go ahead with the procedure. Now, the procedure is the endoscopic laser lithotripsy, wherein again we enter through the normal urinary passage, we go through the bladder, we go through the tube, and then the stone of 1.5 centimeters is completely powdered into pieces. So this is the latest innovation. Once the stone is powdered using laser, now the laser being either it could be a holmium laser or it could be a thulium laser. Of late, the latest is the thulium lasers which have come up for the stone fragmentation. So once the laser is being placed near the stone and fragmentation is done, the stones come out by itself through the normal passage. So the stone in the upper tube, the middle tube, and the lower tube, if they are quite bigger in size, for example, more than 1 centimeter, invariably you will require a procedure, that is the laser endoscopic lithotripsy to clear these stones by the procedure. Now, stones can form in the bladder. Okay, now the bladder stones management can be either, it could be a primary bladder stone or it could be a secondary bladder stone. Okay, the management for these stones, now if the stone is a result of the bladder outlet obstruction, okay, and the stone, again, the management of these stones depends upon the primary cause. So whether it is a stone from the kidney above which has propelled down into the bladder, or whether it is a stone which has primarily formed into the bladder secondary to bladder outlet obstruction. Now, if it is stone which is propelled from the kidneys down into the bladder, and if it is a size of less than 1 centimeter, now we can go ahead again with the endoscopic procedure, that is the endoscopic cystolithotrypsy. The stone is less than 1 centimeter. Now, the stone is quite big, because there have been instances which have operated when the stones are 2.5, 3.5 centimeters. In these instances, you have to do a procedure which is called as the PCCL, that is a percutaneous cystolithotomy, or an open procedure wherein we just put a small nick on the abdomen, just below the umbilicus, and then we just spontaneously take out the stone from the bladder. Okay. There are instances sometimes when the stone has propelled from the kidney into the bladder, and it has come to the lowermost portion, that is the urine pipe. Okay, in such instances, you may have to again take the patient for surgery if the stone is obstructing the urine pipe, that is the urethra. If that is got stuck, most commonly it gets stuck in the prostatic urethra. If it is stuck there, then you may again have to do an endoscopic procedure to push the stone back into the bladder and completely fragment it and clear the stone. So this is the management in detail when the stone is in the kidneys, when the stone is in the tube, and when the stone is in the bladder. So these are the modalities of treatment. Of late, not in our country though, I was in Germany, so at that time I was doing robotic RIRS. So robotic RIRS is wherein a robot uses a robot is being used, a robotic arm is being used to enter into the kidneys and clear the stone, but it is still not there in our country. So that is of late the latest modality of treatment for clearing the renal stones. And last but not the least, laparoscopy has come into picture. Now, laparoscopy is another modality of treatment for management of renal stones when the stone size is big. Now, there are instances and there are patients who form complete staghorn calculus. Now, what is the staghorn calculus? Staghorn calculus is a stone which occupies complete portion of the kidney. It does not leave any space in the kidney. That is a complete staghorn calculus. So we can do a laparoscopic procedure, okay, which is called as the laparoscopic anatrophic nephrolithotomy, wherein we just lay open the kidney like a book laparoscopically, and then take out the stone, and then we stitch back the stones, stitch back the kidneys. So these are all the possible modalities of management of kidney stones in the kidney, ureter, bladder, including even robotic, which I have briefed.